Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to be joined by Alan Kelly shortly. We are going to be talking to Alan about his goalkeeping career, and we're going to be talking about him as a goalkeeping coach and what he gets up to on a day-to-day basis at Everton Football Club. Alan had a really good career as a goalkeeper as well, so it'd be really good to look back at his career. He's here. We're going to read. Just waiting for it to accept. Internet's quite slow for a lot of people at the moment, with everybody working at home.
Hi, Martin.
Alan, how you doing? You can hear me okay?
Oh, that's better now. Yeah, it was really. You asked the question, it repeated 3 times, so it was it was really throwing me out. But yeah, great to be here and speaking to you, and great to be involved with this live chat as we go now.
I love talking to goalkeeping coaches. I've spoke to many over the years and done interviews, and I'm really excited about this because like your career, but also what you're doing now as a goalkeeping coach. You're working at Everton, so it'd be interesting to talk to you about that. I was just going to give a little bit of introduction about yourself, Alan. You come from a goalkeeping family, don't you? Your father, Alan Kelly Sr., and your brother, Gary Kelly, all goalkeepers?
Yep, all professional goalkeepers. I think we're probably something like 1,800 league games between us or something like that. Wow. So, yeah, a real family thing. And my older brother, David, as well, he was an amateur goalkeeper for 20 years as well. So there was only my mum who wasn't a goalkeeper, but no doubt she would have been quite good as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's good that it's running in the family. You kept the game. Have you got any children, Alan, at all?
Yeah, if you look at the little videos you said about the garden, that's my son.
Is that your son?
Yeah, he's 14 in the back garden. So he's not bad. He's got his AV1 gloves on and what have you, and yeah, he enjoys it. And I think he that's the biggest thing he wants to do it. I've not said you're going in goals because this is part of the family tradition. It's no, he wants to do it.
No, it's nice that he's followed on. So let's talk about your career. It was interesting. I was chatting to Dave, our MD of AB1 earlier on today, and we were talking about as you signed for Preston North End in 1985. You had an unusual start, a career that involved an accident with a motorbike.
It certainly did. Yes, in fact, I did have a pic. Oh, here we go. I'll show you now. I just happened to find it. I don't know if you can see that. Look at that.
Wow. Yes. Yeah.
There's the proof. Yeah, it's not Frankenstein. It is actually me. So yeah, I'd played about. I signed, as you said, I signed in '85 for Preston. Made my debut at 17. I went on to play like 50 games as an 18-year-old, just going into my early 19s, and I was actually. It sounds like a joke, this, but it's not. I was crossing the road to buy a pair of gloves. Unfortunately, I didn't make the other side. I got a motorcycle hit me and it took me out of the game for a year to 18 months. So incredibly lucky to be, incredibly lucky to be one, alive, and two to get back into pro football. So it really gave me an appreciation of the life that we have and being able to to be a pro footballer.
So yeah, you must have really appreciated your career after that. A near death experience so early on. That's scary, and to be out of action for that amount of time as well. Yeah,
it is. It's one of those, and I think, but what it leads on to for me is you have to have that mental approach, especially as a goalkeeper, because we know every goalkeeper who's listened to this and that we've come across. You're alone when someone's coming through 1v1. It's you against the opponent, against the attacker. It's that mentality. It's even we've all played in games where we've been 2 or 3 nil down, and it's not quite going right for us, and we're getting stick from the crowd. You've got to be able to cope with that, and I think that sort of mental toughness helped me to get through that period in my life when I was out from playing football for so long.
Yeah, no, it must have been tough. So you made 164 appearances for Preston North End before you transferred to Sheffield United for 150,000, and you were signed by Dave Bassett.
That's right.
You played 255 appearances in total for them. Lot of appearances.
Yeah,
what were the highlights there?
Well, I think obviously Preston, it's my hometown club. In fact, I haven't got these to hand. They've just been around, but that's my original jersey there. You can see the badge of Preston North End.
Yeah.
And what makes me laugh, if you can see behind all the varying colours of the jerseys and designs, it was
Yeah.
plain green when I
Yeah,
first started. So
it's kind of gone back there now. So I used to love the bright, vibrant colours. That's sort of my
you
first
mean
memory
like
of
this?
goalkeeping jersey. Oh wow!
Yeah, that's from the '94 World Cup. That's one of the Campos jerseys that he designed
Yeah,
at the World Cup, and we managed to swap them when I was there with the squad in '94. But wow, again, it's okay.
brilliant.
You can put your
Yeah,
sunglasses in if you want, Martin, but it's
yeah.
yeah. So it's a
There's
little bit different. You can see the difference.
there's a lot of people that collect them. Not only do they collect the gloves, they collect the jerseys as well. And they were some of the best jerseys that were ever made. To be fair, some of my first memories of football, sort of the 1990 World Cup, and then through to '94, clearly remember those. So
Yeah.
it's great to see it.
But it's interesting to your question. Obviously, that first green one was one where you make your debut. Two, it was my hometown club, and three, I was following in the footsteps of my father, who was the record appearance holder at Preston, and has
Okay.
now got a stand named after him. So there was big boots and gloves to follow there, and he was a goalkeeper as well,
Yeah.
who played for Ireland, 47 caps for Ireland, and so yeah, had a lot of things to go into, but having that grounding. I mean, I lived a mile away from the ground, so I used to walk to games,
Yeah.
which would be unheard of now. So, and then, like you say, going on to Sheffield United, I think it was the first season. That's the one of the jersey from the second season in the Premier League with
Yeah.
Sheffield United, and getting to two semi-finals of the FA Cup. That was a highlight. You know, it was a it was a less of a light not winning any of those semi-finals, because it would have been great to be in an FA Cup final. But
Yeah.
playing in the Premier League, and I really enjoyed my time at Sheffield. It was a fabulous place to live and a fabulous club to play for.
214 appearances there. Again, a lot
Yeah,
of football.
yeah, yeah, a lot of football. Yeah, 250 odd overall, with the cup runs and what have you. So,
Mm.
in 7 years, it was great to. And you look at Sheffield United now and how they're doing in the Premier League and the
Mm.
crowd, and it brings back or evokes so many memories for me being at Bramall
Yeah.
Lane and going back now, and I'm remembering that 7 great years that I had there, as well as 7 at Preston as well.
Yeah, they're having until everything happened here in the UK. They're having such a great season this year, weren't they? It was phenomenal to see what they're doing again.
Yeah,
You must have enjoyed watching the football they were playing, because they're playing some unbelievable football, aren't they?
yeah, they are really, really good. And obviously the manager, Chris Wilder, who was a teammate of mine back in these days. So great to see what he's brought to the club in terms of, I suppose, I said to you, my hometown club is Preston, Chris is Sheffield United. So it's fantastic that someone can get those achievements at the hometown club.
Yeah, no, definitely. Talking about Sheffield United, when you started out in your career there, you were wearing Royce gloves. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Do you,
A lot different now. You think of the glove market now, and you see the ones behind me with the AB ones, what have you. You see, it was different back then. There wasn't as many and what have you. But yeah, I started out with Royce in that first season of the Premier League. It was a roll finger, and then I met a certain Mr. Sanderson after that.
yeah. And where did you move to brand wise after that? What was like the next brand of
Well,
gloves for you?
after that, I met Dave Sanderson, your MD. You mentioned him before, and I was with Allsport then, and I stayed with Allsport for a long time. I'm trying to think, probably actually through to when I finished. So it was quite a long stretch with them. And we used to do glove design and all sorts and testing and everything like that. A bit like yourself, I've seen you testing all the gloves and what have you. This was in the last century.
Yeah. Any standout gloves for you back then? Anything that stands out in
Oh
particular?
wow! Well, I think my first pair of gloves. I don't know if you've gone on to that, but my first pair of gloves, because my father at the time, again, he'll mention in a lot of the conversation that we see that we have now, is that he was also the goalkeeping coach at Everton back in the middle '80s, and his goalkeeper then was Neville Southall. And Neville Southall sent me a pair of gloves when I made my debut. So I wore I'm trying to think what they would be now. Sondico they probably were at the time. And wore a pair of those. So, and then eventually when we got into Royce, it was roll finger, and that followed on to Old Sport with the roll finger, and then the gloves like APG. Remember the one
Yeah,
with
I
the
was going to talk about
sticky
ABG.
film?
Yeah, remember it
Yeah,
well. Yeah, I remember
um,
selling them in the sports shop. Yeah,
yeah. And I came up with a novel experiment. I put them in a bucket of water for 24 hours. So I
yeah,
took the film off, left them in the water for 24 hours, took
yeah.
them out, rinsed them, and they were essentially a dry glove.
Mm.
They weren't to be worn in wet. But when you did this process, what I found out, um, they were fantastic. And I remember playing against Queens Park Rangers on a Tuesday night at Bramall Lane, Premier League, and I wore these APGs for the first time, and I
Yeah.
could not get the ball was stuck to them. So yeah,
Did
we
you?
were like, I wouldn't say innovators, but we pushed the bounds and tried to experiment and get the best out of what we were wearing.
Yeah. Did you continue to do that after that?
For a while, yeah, and then obviously, as I said to you, you look at the latex now, and they're pair of ABs and the latex that are on there, and they're my son's ones, his smaller ones, and the latex now, the quality, and especially down the range, is absolutely fantastic. So
Yeah.
at that time in the Premier League, you're looking for any edge, and when it was wet, that's when you could get in trouble as a goalkeeper. So you were trying to get those
Mm.
marginal gains.
Yeah. How have you found our gloves, the AB1 gloves? Have you enjoyed wearing them?
Yeah, I mean, look at those behind there. I've managed to somehow stage those, and I won't actually. My former
Yeah.
engineer, so Sandall, no, but he did those for me with the Irish flag. Obviously, as you said, being the Republic goalkeeper coach, and with the honeycomb design, but the gloves
Yeah. It's a
themselves, yeah.
super special edition, that one. We've not brought that one to market, so it's really you're
Well,
real like it's one of very few pairs ever made. But everybody keeps
well.
asking us, where did they? Are you going to release them? Is that going to
Oh, is that?
be from the new
Oh,
range? So there
well,
might be some demand to release it.
I'm glad I put him under pressure then. But yeah,
I love
the
them. I
actual
think
the
they're
fit,
awesome.
yeah, the fit, and I've I was asked before what's about young goalkeepers. That it's like one, get the right range of goalkeeping gloves. So obviously, we're looking at the ABs. I think they're fantastic, and I've got a track record with your MD in terms of the quality of gloves as well. And I think with the ones, and I said to you before, I think these are a size. I'm going to guess a size 6 or 7.
I think it
But
was 7. I vaguely remember sending them. I sent them
yeah,
to
all
stock. I
right,
vaguely remember sending them out.
7. But the quality of that latex for a size 7 for what would have been a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
and the fit of the glove for a 12-year-old, it's not, sort of back in the day, the fit was, it was loose, and it wasn't, you didn't have the choice that you got with
Yeah.
AB gloves and other gloves that you can actually get a really good fit, and that's critically important for a young goalkeeper, that you've, that the gloves that you're wearing are the right fit, and also, do you like roll finger? Do you like, negative cut? Do you like a flat
Yeah.
palm? There's the choice, I mean, you've got to get
There's so many, isn't there
comfortable for you.
now? There's just
Yeah,
so many
yeah,
different cars. The one thing that we try to do with the range is what's being made for the pros that Asmir's been wearing, that yourself wear, that everyone wears at the top end of the game. We're trying to bring that down through to kids, so that quality is kept and the latex is kept. And I think it's really important, because do you find coaching kids that if you end up in gloves that have got the finger spines and they're really restrictive, that it doesn't help technique, does it?
it doesn't, because ultimately, and again, you want a good glove, but it's the hand that goes inside the gloves that makes a difference in terms of catching or parrying or whatever it may be.
Mm.
But you have to have a glove. Like I say, you have to have a glove that fits, and you have to have a really good quality glove that allows you to do your job. You don't want to be thinking about always doing your wrists, or always thinking about, is there my spines, are they too stiff or what have you. You just need that quality experience through that glove, where it becomes this becomes second nature to you.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. This has to match that, and that allows you then to do your job as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, you have to be able to trust your gloves. Back onto your career, I want to talk about your time at Blackburn. In 1999, you were signed by Brian Kidd, who was at the time the manager of Blackburn Rovers, and you went on to make 50 appearances for them as well.
Yeah.
How was your time at Blackburn?
It was sort of quite quickly as I left Sheffield United and going into Blackburn. They'd just been relegated in the Premier League, and they wanted to get back there as quick as possible. So I was signed, like you say, late on in the July of '99, and a goalkeeper at the time, John Filan, was there. Really good Australian goalkeeper. John played in the Premier League with Blackburn and Wigan and what have you. And I signed to challenge there was none of this. I sort of going as number one or what have you. We were signed to challenge against each other, and in that first season, I think I made majority of my appearances in that 40 appearances in the first season. So Blackburn, another fabulous club, a really good club to play for. We had some unbelievable players like Guy, David Dunn, Damien Duff, Henning Berg, Craig Shaw. I can go on. We had Andy Cole, Dwight York, Mark Hughes, all these massive, Brad Friedel, another goalkeeper, American goalkeepers. All these players were coming to play for Blackburn at the time. So it was a fabulous time to be a Blackburn player.
I've got another question for you. I'm going to talk about your dad. Other than your dad, who was your first goalkeeping coach, and what impact have goalkeeping coaches had on your career as your career's gone through? Yeah,
well, the interesting fact, obviously, in '85 there was no goalkeeping coaches. So it was finding out for yourself and working it out for yourself, and my first sort of official goalkeeping coach would have been at Sheffield United in the Premier League years of '92-'93, and no relation, but it was Mike Kelly, and Mike Kelly was the England goalkeeping coach. He would have looked at Ray Clements, Peter Shilton, Joe Corrigan, and he was absolutely fantastic for me personally, and another goalkeeper at Sheffield United at the time, Simon Tracy, and we loved him. We could only get him one afternoon a week because he sort of went to each club every afternoon around. So it might be Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United. It might be one of the Manchester clubs. I think he was at Southampton. But the drills, the discipline, the structure that he gave us as goalkeepers was, to me, made me the goalkeeper I was, or allowed me to go to a next level, and that was to then go and play international football. And I think Mike Kelly really knew what I was about, knew what I needed, knew what my technique that suited me as a goalkeeper was, and brought the best out of me. And that's what you try to do as a goalkeeper coach.
Yeah, your international career must have been amazing to go and play for your country. Was that the pinnacle of your career, as playing for your country?
Yeah, I mean, again, for a lot of reasons. Again, we're following again in my father's footsteps. My dad at the time had 47 caps. The mass for it, he'd been the assistant manager, he'd been the manager of Ireland, he was another name over there, and there was I, his third son, sort of stepping up and following the footsteps again. So it was so there was a lot of connection between the Kelly name, let's say, and Ireland and Preston at the time, and. But for me personally, it was never a pressure for me. It was always I always looked at it as an honour, and it was again another, I suppose, a mental way of looking at it. Of I can only do what I can do as a goalkeeper. I can't be my father. I can't be whoever. You can only be as good as who you are as and your type of goalkeeper that you are. But the actual honour, as you said, and the feeling of walking out for the first time and representing your country, especially with that history, was fantastic. It really was. It was a surreal. It was almost like the people watching in the crowd. Some were old enough to watch my father, and now they were watching this young pup coming on the scene as well. So yeah, great times. Good times. You went to the '94 World Cup. Jack Charlton was the manager at the time. Great World Cup. Did you? What were your memories of that '94 World Cup? A little bit different than the World Cups now. There was only two goalkeepers, himself and Paki Bonner. That shirt there, you can just see there. That's the one from the World Cup. We were in Orlando. Our first game was going to be against Italy, but we went 10 days acclimatization training in Orlando. 100 degrees, 90% humidity, and we trained in woolly jumpers.
Jeez, did you?
So we didn't have the parallel you've got now. They were thick cotton and wool jumpers because they thought it would get us up to speed. We had tracksuit bottoms on. I mean, my head must have been that colour there half the time. You know what I mean? We lost, on average in the first 8 days, we lost something like 12 pounds a day in sweat, training twice a day. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. But the actual World Cup itself, we beat Italy 1-0 in Giant Stadium in the opening game, which set us on our way, and got through to the round of 16. To play against Holland. I don't think you can see it, but that's not a jersey. But talking to Holland, that was one of the great goalkeepers I played against, and Van der Sar, and that was in that game there. It was against Holland in 2000. So
what a
all
goalkeeper.
These names and all these.
What a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, he once. I once, when I was I think the second game or third game as a coach, an Irish international coach, we played Holland at Lansdowne Road, and it was a team of Van der Sar, Overmars, Edgar Davids, Clarence Seedorf, Cliver, you name all these names, De Boer.
Wonderful.
And
team.
he gave the best display of distribution of the ball with his feet I have ever seen in 35 years in football. It was incredible. Yeah. I was a coach, and then we were losing 3-0. I should have been like that, but I was like, brilliant.
Yeah.
So,
it was a fantastic goalkeeper. Fantastic. Always a pleasure to watch. One of my favourites is over the last sort of 20 years. Watching him was amazing. You went to talk about World Cups. 2002 World Cup in Japan. Mick McCarthy was the manager. What was the differences like between the two World Cups, the setups, and obviously things must have come a lot further by the time you hit 2002. Football was changing.
Absolutely. I mean, I finished probably 18 months after that World Cup, and the differences in terms of organisation, travel, the way that the players were not looked after, but the way the players, got to games. Everything about it was completely different. There was 3 goalkeepers that went to that World Cup: Shea Given, myself, and Dean Kiley. So that from the first World Cup in '94, there was an addition of an extra goalkeeper, and it was just, I just think, in terms of the things that had come into football, sports science, better quality of goalkeeping gloves, a more appreciation of the marginal gains and how different elements from outside football could help you as an individual, as a team. Analysis, video. You name it, it was there, and it was a huge difference in that 12-year, or was it what would it be, 8-year period that we had between those 2 World Cups. 3
great goalkeepers go to the World Cup from you guys over there. Yourself, Shea Given as well. I was a big fan of Shea Given. What was he like to work with Shea?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, we played together for 6 years, and I was his goalkeeper coach for Ireland for 6 years. So we've got a lot of history, and yes, superb. I mean, one of my first managers, John McGrath at Preston, told me one thing, and it's a really good one: it was train as you play. So when you're going in to train, your attitude is it's match day. Do the right things at the right time, give of your best, and do what you can to give as good a performance in training, and that will match in a match. And Shea was the same. We had the same, and Dean was the same as well. The same mindset of we didn't want to be beaten in training. Well. Yeah, and it was this ethos of train as you play. There's no point doing it. If you're going to be sloppy, if you're going to not do it to the best of your ability, then we all had that mindset, and that all that brought together as a goalkeeping group was fantastic, and it certainly raised the standard of our performances. And Shea had a great World Cup in 2002. Yeah,
no, I vaguely remember, and it's interesting what you're saying about like the training. The way you set training up, and the that intensity to take that into matches. That's a good tip for young goalkeepers. We have a lot of young goalkeepers watch this now, but they'll watch it. They might watch this later on in the day. There will be young goalkeepers on, and that is an important thing for them. And sort of making it in the games difficult. What would you give advice-wise to any young goalkeepers that are trying to make it in the game now? Because there's a lot that want to go the whole way, but it is difficult, isn't it?
It is. First things first, make sure you're comfortable and get the right glove. And I mean that because in terms, if you don't and you're not happy with it, then it's something else that's on your mind that's going to affect your performance. I'll give you the best tip I can give the goalkeeper, and I was really thinking about this, is that you've got to accept, even at pro international level, at some point you will make a mistake.
Yeah.
At some point, it's going to, it's not going to quite go right for you. And it's how you analyse that. It's how you look at that and think, a lot of young goalkeepers will get really down in the dumps. The game will be gone. That one mistake means it's the end of the match for them. You've got to analyse it. And again, I'll go back to my dad. He gave me always, it's called the 4 principles of goalkeeping. He used to call it for us. So to take yourself out of that misery you're in, if you've made a mistake and the ball's going back net, was I in the right start position? You ask yourself, because you might get the same situation again, and you need to analyse it quick. Because if you're in a match, and it happens, it may well be in that position again. It's a 1v1. If you were that far out of position, and next time you're that out of position, the same thing might happen. So first thing, think about your start position. Was I in the right start position in relation to where the ball was? Did I judge the flight and pace of that ball? Was it quick? Was it bent? Was it outside the boot? Was it power? Did I make the right decision? Did I try to catch when I should have parried? Did I try to punch when I maybe should have catched or stayed on my line? So making the right decision. And last but not least is speed. Speed to complete that goalkeeping action. So if it's a sweeper keeper, if you amble out and someone gets there, then it's too late. So if the ball's being hit with power, you've got to be quick. You've got to pick the right quickness to get to the ball and deflect it away or catch it. So they're the 4 things. I hope that they sound. So start position, judge the flight and pace of the ball, make a good decision, and then be quick enough to make that decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're great tips. These are brilliant for any young goalkeeper tuning in. This is absolutely brilliant. Looking back, Asmir's just asked a really good question as well. He's just saying, how's goalkeeping coaching changed throughout the years since your playing days, but also like now and working through, you're obviously at Everton now, and how has it changed goalkeeping coaching?
Well,
massively.
I think now as a goalkeeper coach, so I'm an A licensed UEFA A licensed goalkeeper coach, but I'm a UEFA A licensed outfield coach as well. So that integration of the goalkeeper coach into the management team has become closer now. So and if you think about it, in an average in a game, a goalkeeper might have 50 touches of the ball. 80% of those will be probably distribution. So back pass, goal kick, free kick, throwing the ball out, kicking the ball out your hands, whatever it may be. 80%. So that the goalkeeper becomes a pivotal part of how the team builds up from the back. How can he start a quick counter attack? Does he play short to try and draw? So this tactical appreciation of the goalkeeper's role is the biggest single thing for me that's changed. So obviously I would be biased and they say as a goalkeeper I've always thought it's the most important position, but the goalkeeper has more touch of the ball than virtually anybody else on the pitch. So the modern goalkeeping coach has to understand what the manager wants, how he wants to play, what's the game plan and the match plan for that particular game, and how does that affect the goalkeeper and the rest of the team going out. So all those things have to be catered for me as a goalkeeping coach, to integrate into the team plan and trying to win a game.
I guess each manager has a different way of playing as well. Everton, how has it been Everton with the change of manager? Carlo Ancelotti's come in. Obviously, you've had a phenomenal start under him. How's it been?
Fantastic, wonderful man. Like I say, he's a legend in the game. I'm very lucky. I had nearly 5-6 years with Giovanni Trapattoni with Ireland as well. So another Italian legend. So it's fantastic. I mean, for me personally as a coach, I'm 14 years in coaching now, and to be able to look and learn and listen and ask questions, in terms of how he sees a situation or what I need to improve to match up to what he expects. So all that comes together. I think it really raises the game for everybody. And it doesn't matter what career you had. You've still got to, you've got to produce. You've got to be able to understand the game plan. You've got to be able to, have the correct answers at the right time. So I think it's a wonderful pressure. And Asmir probably agrees. I always found it a wonderful pressure to deal with top class people and top class managers. And all you can do is learn and
Yeah.
and you know, it's fantastic for me as a goalkeeper coach to be able to pick the brains and look at a legend working every day.
Yeah, no, he's a fantastic manager with such unbelievable experience. So you're working closely with him on a day-to-day basis. How does a week look like for you? It must be such a full-on week in a Premier League football club. Give us a little insight into a week as a goalkeeping coach.
So obviously, I mean, in season everything revolves around the game. So is it a 2-game week, or you know, have you played on the Saturday? Have you got a game on the Tuesday and then you play on the following Sunday? So have you got 3 games essentially in 8 days? So you know, in the pro game now, you're looking at, you know, your recovery, your rest of the players, and you've got secondary recoveries as well. So you know, as I said to you before, all these offshoots of the game now, sports science, you know, strength and conditioning, nutrition, hydration, recovery. You know, you can keep going on, and suddenly all these strands. So that has to all knit together for the players. We get the optimum performance. So in terms of if you've got a midweek game, the quickest turnaround is assess what happened. So we played on Saturday. You've got to assess quickly what happened in the game. Did you win the game? Did the goalkeeper have anything that we need to work on or point out, or actually say, listen, that was fantastic what you did there. It was brilliant. Let's look to develop that. And then quickly, if it's a Tuesday game, you've got to flip over because you might be playing Man United on a Tuesday. Yeah. So now you're looking at their strengths, their weaknesses, their key players, how we can hurt them, looking at how they can hurt the goalkeeper, set plays. So it's like a mouse's wheel, really. So you're going between analysis and then future game prep, and then it sort of like it rolls over. And obviously, as a goalkeeper coach as well, you've got your goalkeeper playing, but you've also got the goalkeepers who aren't playing. So do they need a top up? Do they need to do extra work that'll keep them match realistic and match fit as well? So you know, it's not just one. It could be 3. So
how many goalkeepers do you work with on a day-to-day basis, Alan?
I would work with 3. 3, but what we try and do is we try to integrate the academy goalkeepers, or one of the academy goalkeepers. So if they've done particularly well, it's great for them to come up. One, it puts them in the mind's eye, and people see them in the first team level. 2, it gives them appreciation of the levels that they need to aspire to. And I think as a club, Everton are fantastic at that as well, in terms of bringing players through and what they want to, how they want to develop them. And you know, it's I think that's really, really important. I was with the 23s with Everton up until Carlo Ancelotti arriving, so I know what it's like to be able to get to want these young goalkeepers to have a chance to show them what they can do. Yeah, and I think that's vitally important.
Any good young goalkeepers coming through? Anyone to look out for that you've seen, not just at Everton, maybe sort of around in the sort of in the academies at the moment? Is there anyone in particular we should keep our eyes peeled?
There are, but obviously I'm biased to my own club as well, and I wouldn't want to put any of them under pressure as well. But I think we're okay. So we
got some good young goalkeepers.
Probably the best is the best way to describe. Yeah, I say the way we work and the way we go about it. You know, we work with a purpose. We work with energy. We work with positivity. And we as a coach, you pass that on to a goalkeeper. Then it's up to them for their natural ability to shine through. And make their mark not only on me but on a management team as well.
I've watched Jordan Pickford's career, and especially two summers ago, and what he did for England. If you enjoyed working with Jordan,
I was fortunate. I worked with Jordan for 30 games at Preston. We got him on loan in the 2015-2016 season. So it was the first time he played in the Championship, and it was Preston North End's first time back in the Championship after getting promotion. So you'll ask any Preston fan, he was absolutely unbelievable for us in those 30 games. Probably won us anywhere between 15 and 18 points. It was incredible. And then again, fortunately, I've worked with him, like I say, now, and also when I first went to Everton. So quality act.
Yeah, no, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. Hope he continues to progress. He's still young. How old is he at the moment? He's
just turned 26. So
26. He's still fairly young, isn't he, as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, he's played. But the thing about Jordan, he's played a lot of football as well since the age of 16, 17. He's been out at Alfreton, I think Carlisle, Bradford, Preston, you know, and Sunderland obviously, and then obviously Everton now. So, you know, that's another thing it's about playing games. It's about getting match minutes. It's about getting exposed to what the opposition, how they can hurt you, and situations that you might need to deal with.
Yeah, I'm just looking back. Dave mentioned it a couple of days ago when we were speaking on the phone about the goalkeepers you've worked with. You worked with some of the best goalkeepers around. We talked about Shay Given earlier on, David Ford, Chris Kirkland, Chris Maxwell. There's Anders Lingard, obviously Jordan Pickford we're just speaking about. But what, in your opinion, is the difference between being a good goalkeeper and an exceptional goalkeeper?
Well, I think the common thread that they all have is they're all good at the components of goalkeeping: shot stopping, dealing with crosses, sweeper keeper, distribution. They have to be at a good level to be playing, you know, the Championship, playing international level, or playing in the Premier League. For me, it's the concentration. So I remember playing in international football in particular, and you might not have anything to do for 70 minutes, and then you have to make the save that maybe gets you to qualify for a European Championships or to qualify for a World Cup. And it's having that capacity to mentally stay in the game and stay sharp, you know, and never switch off. I remember a couple of times, well, most times coming off a pitch, you might not have had a lot to do, and you came off and you were wet through, because your concentration levels have to be at the top. They have to be the top. Now, whether you, that's whether you're a young goalkeeper, you know, grassroots, amateur, or professional or international. If you're switched on to what's happening in the game, if you're aware of one thing, it's another tip I'll give you. Always think, if the opposition have got the ball, how can they hurt me with that ball? Because it's the ball that ends up in the back of the net. So how can that ball hurt me? Do I need to adjust my position if it's a through ball? Do I need to give myself a yard deeper if it's a shot stopping? Do I need to be more positive in terms of a cross? Do I take a yard towards the 6-yard line? Whatever it may be, ask yourself that question. How can this ball hurt me? And if you do that, it means you're switched on and you're tuned in to how the ball can come in towards you.
Yeah. You just can't switch off as a goalkeeper, can you?
You can't switch off. No.
And there's so much money involved in football now, and the tiniest mistake can be so hurtful to
well,
a club.
Unfortunately, the goalkeeper, you don't get many second chances. So that's why having that awareness, having that mental capacity to be in the game all the time, to always be assessing, to always be moving, adjusting your position in relation to the ball, that's going to give you the best chance. Now, we can't save every shot. We can't come for every cross, you know, but if you put yourself in the right position at the right time, more times than not, that you're going to give yourself the best chance of dealing with that football.
Yeah, no, definitely. I bet you must be looking forward to getting back to work now. You're missing it.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's our life. Like I say, I'm 35 years. You know, you don't. Again, I go back to when that pitch before, when I was run over. You know, it gives you an appreciation of life, and I think, you know, for everybody out there and what's going on, you know, with the coronavirus, that is the focus at the moment. And, you know, football will be fantastic when we get back. Football will be there when we get back. But we have to do what's right to make sure that this epidemic, this pandemic stops, and we can get back to some normality in life. And that includes playing football.
Yeah, it takes a bit of time. I know everybody's missing out. Everyone I speak to, they just want to play, and it's just that bit of patience, isn't it? What have you been doing during the lockdown? How have you found the lockdown here in the UK? How have you kind of kept yourself busy, sort of on a day-to-day?
Quite well, yeah. We've never really switched off. We're sort of designing sessions for the goalkeepers that they can do in smaller spaces. That, you know, it might be they've only got their wife with them. It might be their partner or whoever it's going to be. You know, whoever's around them. If they got a wall, something to keep them active. Something to keep, you know, that familiarity with the ball. We've also been doing, you know, we can do video conferencing in terms of looking at some of the tactical situations from games gone by. So, you know, what would you do there, or are you happy with how that's set up? So you've been able to, you know, look at a different part, or looking at the game from a different perspective, rather than being out on the training pitch. We're looking at it, you know, in terms of analytically through games, and also, you know, thinking in my head, thinking, right, so you saw the one outside with my son, and we're doing all sorts of little practices or what have you. Is you know, can our goalkeepers do the same? Because we enjoy doing that. they enjoy playing football,
Yeah.
and just to have a little bit of fun and just keep them in the game, I suppose.
Yeah, I saw a really good video that a couple of days ago, Alex McCarthy had bought like one of these ball launchers, and he had a machine firing footballs at him, and he was doing it in his garden. He was training in his garden. I thought it was brilliant. It was really good.
Yeah. Oh, I did that 5 years ago. But yeah,
Yeah,
I've got yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. They really are good. Obviously, you know, especially when it's dry weather as well. But again, something like that, you know, have we got access? Can we get something that allows the goalkeeper to get a feel of that ball? You know, to that, because
yeah,
you still want to feel that ball hitting the hands, and again, looking forward, as you said, you know, coming out the other side of this, you want to be in the right shape physically. So, you know, in terms of the physical preparation, but also you want to be in tune with that football, you know, in
yeah,
terms of that first volley or that first shot or first cross comes in. So if we can we keep touching on that week in, week out, then
yeah,
when we do go back, there's less of a gap to bridge.
yeah. You in constant contact, obviously, with the players, and like, is that like a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis? Is it or?
Probably not every day, but every other day, yes, it'll be, you know, in terms of like setting a challenge or looking at a game, or like last night, I sent out my, you know, the schedule of little sessions I want, you know, like them to do for the next 2 or 3 days leading to the weekend. The everybody, I said, all those strands that I said are still in place. So your sports science, your diet, especially now because because you're away from the ball, all those strands are still attached
Yeah,
to that player, and that includes
yeah,
me. So that never switches off, and that's that sort of protocol of all that little areas are still in place. So
yeah.
that doesn't change. It's just the fact that we're not face to face.
I guess that when, like you said, when you get back, it's just been to get everyone sharp as you can, as quick as you can, and ready
Yeah,
to play again.
absolutely. And you know, the modern player, they understand what they need to do physically. They understand nutritionally, and everything that goes around it. You know, they're so well educated now in terms of how to look after themselves that, you know, it's like I said to you, I came from the last century and it was a little bit different. But I think now, you know, they're so in tune, and there's that much technology that they can be monitored on GPS. They can be heart rate monitors, you know, Strava, whatever. All these things come into
Yeah,
play. So, you know, the way the players are monitored, the way that they're educated, and the knowledge that they have now means that gap will be like that when they come back, rather than like that.
yeah. Fingers crossed we get back soon. Thank you for joining me today, Alan. It's been a
Very
pleasure having
welcome.
you on. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to talk about your career and what you're doing now as well. What you're doing now just seems so exciting, and you've got to go and finish the season really well now, haven't you? And have a really good end to the season. How many games are you remaining now for you guys?
9, I think. You probably caught
9
me
to
off there,
go.
but I think it was 9. That,
Yes,
yeah,
it's good.
yeah,
It's
9
a
to
good
go.
few
So
games to play, isn't it? So you've
absolutely,
had a
absolutely.
phenomenal start under Ancelotti. So you just need to go and finish the season as well as you can, don't you now, and pick up where you left
Well,
off.
it won't be we want to try, and you know, we give it everything. We work hard, and as I said to you, even a young goalkeeper, if you try your best, if you work hard, if you prepare as well as you can, then there's not a lot you can do after that.
Yeah, we want to wish you all the best here from the team at AB1GK, and I'll catch up with you again soon. We'll get you on again soon. But
Certainly will. Anytime.
thank you for your time today.
Very welcome. Take care.
Thanks,
Look
Alan.
after
Best
yourself. Stay
wishes.
safe, everybody.